I'll start by, I'd say, giving credit to the Rams organization. This whole week for us was really an important week. I think it's an important week around the NFL. You learn a lot from your first game and then have an opportunity to improve upon it. And we had the added benefit of working with another team in the second week in a row and doing it in a totally first-class manner. So Sean, Les, Kevin, their entire organization, they were great hosts for us. We knew exactly what we wanted to try to get done here, and we got a lot of work done on the practice field, and obviously got a lot of work tonight in the game. So, much to continue to improve on, but I thought our team competed every day, with their team as they did, and I thought we made some progress. And we'll take a look at the tape tomorrow and see where we're at.
Josh, what was the mindset and thought process behind starting Jimmy and the other starters, and then also just your thoughts on how they did?
Yeah, you kind of always go through that conversation in your head every year, and we just felt like it was with a number of new faces, number of guys that were basically going to play their first regular season game together. That we'd like to go ahead and get that feeling, kind of that feeling you have in your stomach on a normal game day, in the regular season, kind of get some of that out of the way today, and go through a normal pregame preparation, understanding that you were going to play, you're going to suit up. It's different when you can get hit, and when you're bringing people to the ground, as opposed to practice when you're not really doing that. So I think, just making that decision as a staff, as an organization with Dave, I thought our players had a great mindset about it, wanted to come out and do it right. And, I thought, I'm sure everything wasn't perfect, but we were able to get them in there, get them communicating together, get in the huddle, look each other in the eyes, play a drive offensively with those guys, and handful of snaps defensively, same thing. So, just, thought it was the best thing for our team.
There was a throw that Jimmy threw to Jacoby where someone was barreling down on him and got him right at it. I mean, I know that's happened a million times in his career, but just to have it happen again,
sure,
is that beneficial?
Yeah. I mean, look, I think every quarterback or player that touches the football that knows once the regular season comes that they're live bait, and they're going to get hit. It's always good to kind of get that out of the way, and some of that anxiety about, how it feels, because you haven't done it in a long time, 7-8 months at minimum. So, no, he wanted to be out there. I thought he handled the huddle really well, good tempo, in and out of the huddle, and was efficient in the passing game and got us in the right run plays, and we were able to get down there and put some points on the board.
Jermaine on the left side of the line and Thayer on the right. What was the thinking?
Yeah, Colton was one of the handful of guys. We had a handful of guys that obviously didn't play. We're just, we try to make smart decisions about if there was guys that are banged up or nursing something or just kind of coming back, or we just wanted to be careful with a couple people, which is what we were doing. We just felt like it wasn't the right thing to do. And so, we just felt that giving those two guys an opportunity, they're competing at right tackle, and now they're both in the game at the same time for basically the entirety of the first half. So just gave us a great opportunity to, evaluate those two guys. Jermaine has played on the left side before, played games for us last year on the left side. So it wasn't a brand new thing for him, but he's practiced there some, and it's good to see those guys go out there and compete.
Josh, you made the decision to play Brian a lot, whereas you played Aiden a lot in those reps. I'm just curious about that decision.
You're talking about Brian today?
Well, yes, today.
Yeah, I didn't want to go through the whole preseason. We haven't quite decided how we're going to finish it next week in Dallas relative to the reps, but I think if you have guys that are competing in that situation and or going to be a backup, of some sort, just to get them an opportunity to get out there, run a huddle, run a handful of drives, run a 2-minute drill, etc. So, that's what it was.
Obviously, Aiden opened up a lot of eyes against the 49ers. Were you curious to see how he was going to respond a second time out, and how pleased were you that it's just no big deal, he goes out there and plays well again?
Yeah, I'm very interested in watching all of our young players, because this is a great opportunity for all those guys in joint practices and in preseason games to really go out there and compete, but also improve. A lot of these things that they're doing and or seeing or the first time they're doing it. Trey Tucker, handful of things today. Same thing with Aiden, Chris Smith, Bernie. There's a number of guys that are out there doing things, and they're seeing things for the first time. So that game experience, the live reps against somebody that, you don't know what they're going to do. You're not sure exactly how that's going to go from snap to snap. It just, it's all positive for us in terms of getting those guys an opportunity to work and take repetitions. So they'll either do the right thing or learn from the mistake.
What's been your impression of Malcolm Coach tonight and also throughout camp?
Yeah, Malcolm's had a great attitude all year, and he's really grown since we got here. Just overall in terms of his how he plays the position fundamentally and thinks about both run game, pass rush, etc. I'll have to see the film in order to be able to tell you how I felt like the overall thing went for him tonight. But Malcolm's been disruptive. He's gotten better over the 2 years we've been together, and he's got a great attitude about it. So, I expect him to, really compete and help us this year at that spot.
Quarterbacks, all of them kind of seem to pretty comfortable in the pocket throughout the day. Things in the offensive line. What are some things from the line that you saw that you really liked that led to success?
Yeah, anytime you give the quarterback an opportunity to, it wasn't like the ball was coming out quick all night long. We were kind of, we wanted to see if we could do both, quite honestly, this game, see if we could protect and see if we could, make a few plays down the field, some chunk passes down the field. And I thought the line, for the most part, provided the guys with some time to throw, stand back there, read the coverage. And, they didn't, again, you just got to take everything with a grain of salt. We know 99 wasn't out there, and they didn't blitz a whole lot tonight. So, but for the things that we asked them to do, I thought they were productive in the pass game.
You mentioned Trey Tucker, and sometimes as a young player, you got to bounce back from some things. Felt like he kind of hung in there and ended up making a couple of nice plays after a little bumpy start.
Sure did. I mean, like I said, they either do it right or they make a mistake and learn from it. In either case, it's a positive. You know what I mean? So we kind of win or learn. And that's kind of our attitude. And Trey certainly had. He'll learn from the kickoff return deal, and those are all first-time opportunities. For a guy like that who's just entering the National Football League. So did some decent things in the punt return game, made a great catch on the sideline, caught the deep one, so, it's all positive in that regard. There was definitely mistakes, but those things are going to be learning experiences for our young guys.
I don't think Jacornian Dress is he hurt?
No, we're just, like I said, there was a number of guys that didn't play, and he was one of them. So just trying to be smart with the number of guys that, are either, feeling a little, sore from camp and so on and so forth. So, I don't know what the number was, but it was somewhere in the 12 to 15 range that didn't suit up. So he was one of them.
Any injuries coming out of tonight?
I don't have the final list, but it seemed like we made it out fairly healthy. We'll see. Darian had a couple things, so we'll see what that is. But overall, I thought it was a fairly, good sequence for us to get out there, play, and not have a bunch of injuries. Guys coming off the field tonight. So I think that was the same thing with their team too. So I think we had a fairly healthy game.
Larry got his feet wet. Any early impressions?
Yeah, he got his feet wet, and he did some decent things, and then he made some mistakes. And but again, he's the same as those other guys, and he's either going to do it right or he'll learn from the opportunity. So, this week coming up will be a big week for those guys that didn't play in the San Francisco game. Now they got their first game action. There's a little bit of a different taste in your mouth. You kind of understand the speed of the game. It's picking up a little bit, so they'll have an opportunity to improve on some of those things this week.
Back to Jimmy, the progression throughout camp and tonight. Is that kind of where you planned it? Kind of where you saw things working out for him?
Yeah, this was always the game we kind of had earmarked for him based on what we were doing to get him out there with his guys and let him have an opportunity to play. So thought he's definitely progressing and continuing to improve as our group continues to work around him. And again, this will be another big week this week.
You think the games that Aiden's put together, there's a chance that he might have earned, like maybe getting an earlier playing time next week?
Well, he played the whole game basically last week. So, next week's next week. We'll figure out exactly what we need to do based on some of the competition that we're looking at and some of the things we really want to see prior to the regular season beginning. But, we got 3 practices this week. We got a preseason game, got 3 practices the following week. So kind of looking at it in totality. But there's a lot of decisions and conversations to be had internally about what we're going to do and how we're going to use this final preseason game coming up in Dallas.
You guys good?
What about David? No David Agoha questions, huh? I just think that's really cool, and for him, the first sack and then the response from the team, I think says a lot about David and the kind of kid he is. So I was really happy to see him do that. Okay, you got it. Yep.